She turned America's airports into her cocaine highway. The FBI's 6-year manhunt for Elena Vasquez. Elena Vasquez had the perfect cover. For 3 years, she worked as a baggage handler at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, trusted with access to secure areas where millions of travelers passed through daily. But federal investigators would later discover that Vasquez was running one of the most sophisticated cocaine smuggling operations in aviation history. According to DA records, Vasquez had transformed her airline job into a criminal enterprise worth over $12 million. She recruited baggage handlers at 7 major airports across the country, creating a network that could move hundreds of pounds of pure Colombian cocaine through America's busiest terminals. The operation was elegant in its simplicity. Drugs would be packed into false-bottom suitcases, checked as regular luggage, then intercepted by her accomplices before reaching the baggage claim. The FBI's Organized Crime Task Force estimates that Vasquez's network moved over 2,000 pounds of cocaine between 2016 and 2018. Street value: $48 million. The drugs flowed from Miami to Chicago, Los Angeles to New York, all hidden in plain sight among the 2.7 million bags processed daily by America's aviation system. Federal agents first noticed the operation during a routine customs inspection at Miami International. A drug-sniffing dog alerted on a suitcase that should have been empty after a connecting flight. Inside, agents found 22 pounds of cocaine and a baggage tag that didn't match the passenger manifest. The investigation that followed would reveal a criminal conspiracy that threatened the security of the entire aviation system. In March 2018, a federal grand jury indicted Elena Vasquez on charges of conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, money laundering, and abuse of airport security credentials. But when FBI agents arrived at her Dallas apartment with an arrest warrant, she was already gone. The manhunt for America's most wanted airport smuggler had begun. Elena Vasquez vanished on the morning of March 15, 2018. Just hours before federal agents planned to arrest her at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. CC surveillance cameras captured her last known appearance, walking through Terminal C at 6:47 a.m., carrying a small duffel bag and wearing the uniform that had given her unrestricted access to secure areas. The FBI's immediate response was swift and comprehensive. Within 30 minutes of discovering her absence, agents had coordinated with TSA to lock down the airport's employee areas. Every exit was monitored, every security checkpoint scrutinized. But Vasquez had simply walked out through a maintenance exit that her security badge still accessed. Federal investigators quickly discovered the depth of her preparation. Vasquez had been planning her escape for months, possibly years. Bank records showed she had gradually moved over $800,000 to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. Her apartment was meticulously cleaned, wiped of fingerprints and DNA evidence. Even her computer hard drive had been professionally destroyed. The early leads seemed promising but led nowhere. Credit card records showed purchases in Houston, then San Antonio, creating a trail south toward the Mexican border. FBI agents flooded the region, coordinating with Border Patrol and local law enforcement. They missed her by hours in Laredo, finding a motel room still warm, a half-eaten meal on the table. Then the trail went completely cold. No credit card usage, no phone pings, no surveillance camera captures. Vasquez had become a ghost, vanishing into a world where cash was king and questions weren't asked. Investigators discovered she had been using at least 3 different identities, each with legitimate-looking documentation that would allow her to travel freely. After 6 months of intensive searching, the task force was forced to admit the obvious. Elena Vasquez had successfully escaped into the criminal underground. But the FBI doesn't give up on fugitives who threaten national security. The case remained active, the warrant outstanding, the search continuing. The FBI's strategy was methodical and relentless. Special Agent Sarah Chen, who led the task force, assembled a team of 42 agents across 8 field offices. They knew Vasquez couldn't stay hidden forever. Criminals with her profile eventually make mistakes, get desperate, or simply can't resist the lifestyle that got them into trouble. For 6 years, the manhunt consumed enormous resources. The Bureau spent over $2 million pursuing leads across 3 continents. Vasquez's photograph was distributed to every major airport in North America. Her face appeared on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list, generating over 3,000 tips from the public. Each lead was investigated, each sighting verified. The close calls came regularly, maddeningly close. In December 2019, surveillance cameras at Los Angeles International Airport captured a woman matching Vasquez's description, working in the food court. FBI agents swarmed the terminal, but discovered it was a case of mistaken identity, a similarity so striking that even facial recognition software was fooled. 8 months later, they nearly caught her at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. A TSA supervisor recognized her despite plastic surgery that had altered her nose and cheekbones. By the time agents arrived, she had vanished again, leaving behind a fake Georgia driver's license and 3 different wigs in an airport bathroom. Investigators suspected she was still using airports. It was what she knew, where she felt comfortable. Her expertise with aviation security made her nearly invisible in environments where millions of people moved daily. She could blend in with ground crews, cleaning staff, or food service workers who had access to secure areas. Years passed. Some task force members were reassigned. Others retired. But Agent Chen never gave up. She kept Vasquez's photo on her desk, studied security footage from dozens of airports, coordinated with international law enforcement agencies. Somewhere out there, Elena Vasquez was still moving drugs through the aviation system, still threatening the security that millions of travelers depended on daily. The chase had become personal. Chen knew that eventually, Vasquez would make the one mistake that would end her run. Everything changed in January 2024, when the Transportation Security Administration installed new biometric facial recognition systems at 23 major airports. The technology was revolutionary, capable of seeing through disguises, plastic surgery, even aging. It compared bone structure, eye spacing, and other immutable features that criminals couldn't alter. The system flagged a suspicious traveler on February 3rd at 2:17 p.m. A woman with a Mexican passport was attempting to board a flight from Miami to Bogotá, Colombia. Her documents identified her as Maria Santos, a 34-year-old businesswoman. But the facial recognition algorithm detected something the human eye couldn't see: bone structure that matched Elena Vasquez with 94.7% certainty. Agent Chen received the alert within minutes. 6 years of waiting, 6 years of near misses, and finally the technology had caught up with the fugitive. But they had to be absolutely certain. The woman calling herself Maria Santos had undergone extensive plastic surgery, nose job, cheek implants, even surgical alteration of her eye shape. To casual observers, she looked nothing like the Elena Vasquez from the FBI's wanted posters. Federal agents worked frantically to confirm the match. Advanced algorithms analyzed the airport surveillance footage, comparing thousands of data points with Vasquez's original photographs. The bone density around her eyes was identical. The spacing between her pupils matched exactly. Even the way she walked, her gait pattern, was unmistakably the same. By 3:45 p.m., the FBI had confirmation. The sophisticated biometric system had accomplished what 6 years of traditional investigation couldn't. It had found Elena Vasquez hiding in plain sight. But she was already through security, sitting at gate T12, waiting for a flight that would take her beyond American jurisdiction. The boarding process would begin in less than an hour. If she reached Colombia, extradition would be nearly impossible. The Bureau had one chance to end the longest airport manhunt in FBI history. Agent Chen coordinated with Miami-Dade Airport Police and TSA officials. The operation had to be precise, quiet, and absolutely foolproof. After 6 years of waiting, they would not let Elena Vasquez slip away again. The arrest operation began at 4:23 p.m. on February 3, 2024. FBI Special Agent Sarah Chen positioned 8 agents throughout Miami International Airport's Terminal D, while TSA officials quietly secured all exit routes. Elena Vasquez sat in the departure lounge, unaware that the walls were closing in after 6 years of freedom. According to federal agents present during the operation, Vasquez appeared calm as passengers began boarding Avianca Flight 657 to Bogotá. She had made it this far countless times before, using different identities, different airports, always staying one step ahead. The cutting-edge biometric technology had finally seen through her elaborate disguises. Agent Chen made the approach at 4:41 p.m., just as Vasquez stood to join the boarding line. Maria Santos turned to see 8 federal agents surrounding her, their badges clearly visible. For a moment that seemed to stretch forever, she stared at Chen, the agent who had pursued her across 3 continents in 6 long years. "Elena Vasquez, you're under arrest," Chen announced. Video surveillance would later show Vasquez's shoulders sagging in defeat. The woman who had evaded capture for over 2,100 days simply nodded and extended her hands for the handcuffs. Her boarding pass to Colombia fell to the terminal floor. The federal case against Vasquez was overwhelming. In addition to the original drug trafficking charges, prosecutors added conspiracy to commit money laundering, identity fraud, and violation of federal aviation security regulations. Her 6-year flight from justice had only added to the evidence against her. On September 12, 2024, Elena Vasquez pled guilty to 14 federal charges in Miami federal court. Judge Patricia Martinez sentenced her to 25 years in federal prison without possibility of parole. The cocaine smuggling network that had moved millions of dollars worth of drugs through America's airports was permanently dismantled. Today, Elena Vasquez serves her sentence at FCI Coleman in Florida. The woman who had turned America's busiest airports into her personal drug highway will be eligible for release in 2049 when she turns 68 years old. The 6-year manhunt that had consumed over $2 million in federal resources and involved hundreds of agents across multiple countries was finally over. Agent Chen keeps Vasquez's mugshot on her desk, not as a reminder of the chase, but as proof that justice, however delayed, is never denied.